What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the neighborhood. Today, we're going to be discussing the results of our 2023 Fantasy Critic League and doing the draft for 2024. Before we get started, let me introduce the crew for the 2024 league. Of course, you've got myself and Dylan. Dylan, how you doing tonight?
I am doing well. Can't complain.
That's good. We also have the guys from the Wait For It podcast. We got Phil. How you doing, Phil?
I'm doing well. Excited I was able to make it this year, and ready to prove myself as a newbie.
And we have his co-host Eric. How's it going, Eric?
It's going great. I am very excited to be back and to finally take first place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting, because you brought some additional competition along with you in your brother, Stefan. How's it going?
Going pretty good. I'm also excited. It's going to be a fun time for sure.
And there is one more person that is part of the league this year, Jay Davis, Super Bracket Bros fame, the originator of the Super Bracket Bros cinematic universe. He is part of the league. However, he was not able to make it to the recording tonight, so he has his draft set up to auto draft, which is something that we have not played around with before, so it'll be kind of a fun experiment to see how that plays in the mix. Before we dive in to the draft, though, for this year, I do want to take a look back at 2023 a little bit, talk about the results, how all of that shook out. And Eric, as someone who was new to this whole experience, to Fantasy Critic, which I guess to the listener, if this is your first time hearing about this, essentially what this is like fantasy football, but for video games. Mm-hmm. So we're going to draft rosters of games that are due to release this year, and we're going to score points based on the review scores they get on Open Critic. And then at the end of the year, whoever has the most points will win. There is a counter pick mechanism in there that allows you to counterpick games on other people's rosters and get points if they score poorly, or probably my favorite or the most efficient way to use them is to lock somebody into a game that you think will either not get points or get negative score and they can't drop it. Mm-hmm. It's just a fun game that we like to do every year with some of our podcasting friends and family. And I think this is our 4th year doing this. We did it,
I think so.
We did it at least once as Level Playing Field. Mm-hmm. We did it twice there and twice here. Is that right? Is that the math?
So. I think I'm showing history for the league back to 2022. So I do believe this is year 4.
Cool. Yeah. So we have fun with it. It's really exciting in the beginning of the year, and then it's pretty exciting at the end of the year, and then the middle of the year it's kind of like you can kind of forget about it for a little while until like all the announcements kick in. But back to what I was originally saying here, Eric, as somebody who is completely new to this, I just mentioned that Dylan and I have been doing this for 4 years, but last year was your first year. How did it go? How did you enjoy it? How was the experience? Tell us what you thought.
Yeah, so just kind of going down memory lane for 2023. When I started the draft, very nervous. As a guy whose gaming experience, along with my co-host, is about 60% Fortnite, and that's probably being generous, I would definitely say that I was scared that I really wouldn't be able to compete effectively. And I am definitely proud to say, despite some early mistakes and some rookie mistakes, I'll say, finishing 3rd is a pretty strong, first season. I definitely got to give myself a pat on the back, and I'm feeling a little bit more confident not to make some of those rookie mistakes. So I'm expecting to make that sophomore jump, because this is just like sports. It's exactly like sports.
Exactly.
Yes. I have something that Jay wrote up for me to read because he could not be here. So in the spirit of looking back at 2023, I'll go ahead and read his thoughts, and we can pick it apart as much as we want because he's not here to defend himself. So .67 Studios gracefully accepts its silver medal for its efforts in the 2023 Fantasy Critic Games. However, despite this admirable performance, we have decided to go a new direction in 2024. .67 Studios will be moving on from the grudge that was our namesake and into the future. We are now Millennium Falcon Punch. To be pronounced, Millennium Falcon Punch! And can't wait to see what great new games we'll discover in 2024. To all our fans, supporters, and believers, we surely won't let you down for a third year in a row. He didn't write a laugh there. That was me. Wishing the best of luck to all my competition, but most of all, best of luck to my auto draft. Thanks for having me join again this year, guys, and fuck Lies of P for being a good game. Jay.
That's fantastic. And
Yes.
yeah, that was a detrimental counter pick. Absolutely crazy how that all unfolded to basically give you the win, which was, I'm sure you're not mad about.
Yeah, no. So Jay and I were pretty close last year, neck and neck. And then, yeah, kind of that counter pick. He counterpicked Lies of P, and that cinched it. He underestimated how good that game was going to be. And so it gave me positive points and him negative points and pushed me over the edge.
Yeah.
Dylan, how did you feel last year went?
I thought last year went pretty well. We've talked about it several times just on our show. Just how good of a year 2023 was for video games. So it was there were a ton of games that came out that were just scoring points left and right. I feel like in previous years that we've played this, there have been a pretty decent mix of like games that either do nothing or get you negative points and positive points. And for the most part, pretty much everyone had nothing but positive points on their like scorecard. There were a few like here and there that didn't perform like you wanted to, but mostly we were losing points just in the counter picks because we were like, oh, that game probably won't be that good, and then it'll lose you like 15 points or whatever. And so overall, though, I think it was I think I was fairly pleased with my performance. There were a couple of like missteps. I really banked hard on my like Call of Duty, just kind of getting the like, oh yeah, the camp, like we all know it's the same game. We all kind of are like, yeah, it's fine or whatever. But generally the critics are fans of the campaign. But this one stabbed me in the back, and it was a terrible campaign. And it lost me a decent chunk of points. I don't think it really would have changed anything had I had those points still. But I would have felt just a little bit better. So
I will add in there because I did see that, and I purposely counterpicked Warhammer when I saw it wasn't going to release because I wanted to lock in my third place spot. So if it helps, I didn't help late in the season. I was really just trying to make sure I stayed in third.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were my main competition for third place, so I can't fault you at all for being like, Warhammer's not coming out, let me lock that in before he takes it off. So, yeah. But overall, it was a lot of high-scoring, like, 4 of the 6 teams were over 100, and I think the 2 teams that were under 100 were the ones that kind of, like, fell off towards the back half of the year anyway, so or had a bunch of counter picks on their stuff.
Yeah, during the draft, if you look at like pretty much everybody's roster, which you can do if you're interested in actually getting the visuals for this, I put the link to our Fantasy Critic in every podcast episode, so you can go look at this yourself. It's a public league, but yeah, it was like all the things that were drafted. I mean, Kyle had Zelda and Octopath 2 and even Wo Long that performed really well. It was like we knew there were some heavy hitters coming out. It was the late game trying to pick up some of these lesser known games that was where I was picking up things like Lords of the Fallen that only got me 3 points and Lego 2K Drive that only got me 2 points. That was kind of where the competition really started to add up, and there were there was some learning with the counter picks. It seemed like this was the first year that we had to pick up 3. Usually it's just the 1, and so it was a little bit stressful being like, I don't know. You know, I picked Payday 3 as a counter pick, and I didn't know if that game really did well. It could have really screwed me like Liza P did for Jay. So it throws another wrinkle. You mentioned something that's probably worth throwing out there as far as like how this functions. We do have the ability to drop 3 games throughout the year. We set that just for any reason. They have to be unreleased. So they can't have come out and scored poorly. Once they're scored, you're locked into them. But you can drop 3 games. The exception to that is if somebody counterpicks it. If it's counterpicked, it's stuck on your roster. So yeah, overall, really fun year. Obviously, it's always nice to win, but I do think it was an interesting year to play this with just the games that we had coming out and the way the year looked. I think 2020 maybe was the only kind of comparable year we had, having like a bunch of games. That was the year of Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 and Cyberpunk came out that year. So like 2020 had some big hitters. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this year goes because it's kind of, there's a lot more unknowns going into the draft. And I think that's going to make it really interesting as we move through the year and we're watching the announcements over the summer and trying to make up points as the year goes on. Speaking of the new year, I think unless there's anything else we need to say about 2023, we can go ahead and kick it into 2024.
Sure.
So I will click the set draft order button and it will be random. It is a snake draft, which means that whoever goes last gets to immediately go again, and it goes back and forth like that until we are done. We're drafting 6 games each, and then we will do our counter picks, and that will be it. That will leave 6 open slots that you will fill out throughout the rest of the year, along with, any drops and stuff you do. The way, I guess maybe the way I should explain how you pick up games throughout the year, we all have an amount of money, which I think it's like $100. Yeah, we all have $100 in our league. And so every week you can bid on games secretly, and every Saturday, whoever bid the most for that game will be the one who gets it. So there's kind of a little bit of, how much do I want to spend on this game? Has anybody else noticed it? Do I think somebody else is going to fight me on this?
Yeah, it's always a fun weekend, like right after like E3,
like a showcase or something.
Like Xbox has its showcase coming up next week or whatever. So I'm sure there will be like an interesting like, how much is Phil going to bid on this? Can I beat him? Sort of thing. So.
If I think about it correctly, I think that happened with Nintendo pretty badly. I mean, there was a run, and one of those rookie mistakes I made was the counter pick that I made to Hogwarts Legacy during the draft. So when that happened, I felt behind, and I picked up so many games by the end, I didn't have room for Wonder, which Andrew ended up picking up because I had to pick between Wonder and the RPG, and my brain just wasn't working that day.
I spent a lot of money on Wonder. I don't know if you could have beat me, but I think you, me, and Jay all walked away with a Nintendo game after that showcase. We were all competing for all of them. So, yeah, that's kind of the fun things that happen throughout the year. All right. I guess we should go through and announce our publishers, because instead of teams, you create a publisher, and that represents you throughout the year, and it's your publisher that is acquiring these games to build out their portfolio, whatever. So it just gives you a chance to be a little fun and creative with your name. I went with 2 Hardware, which I tried to get it last year. I was just like the effing game publisher, so I wanted to get a little bit more creative with it this year. Obviously a play on From Software. Dylan, what did you go with this year?
I am Sorcerers of the Beach, a play on Wizards of the Coast, the people who make Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, that sort of thing. Not so good at video games, so I don't know why I picked them for my video game publisher. But
I mean,
We'll see.
it's perfect for where you usually end up at the end.
That's
of the
true.
year, so.
Mid tier, you know.
We already heard Jay's. He is the Millennium Falcon Punch. I'm only going to pronounce it how he wrote it out the one time. Phil, who's your publisher?
Yeah, I went with definitely not Peter Molyneux. I'm super trustworthy. You know, things are going to go different this time. And all these features that I'm talking about are definitely going to be in the game. So we've turned a corner here. So, you know, feel good about it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Stefan, how about you? What did you go with your publisher?
So yeah, my publisher name is Depression Offline, which is for a company called Sierra Online, which is a old company, which made Lords of Magic in 1998, which is, as far back as my memory goes, like the first game that I was just like addicted to. And Eric will probably remember this. I remember playing it on the old computers, and it was a Hot Wheels one. So it was a blue computer with the Hot Wheels. It was the big bulky one, and I remember that's where it all started. So I figured I'd go back to my roots.
It was a Hot Wheels branded PC.
Yes, a Hot Wheels. Listen. We got so stale in the new days. We just have these thin monitors. You know, there's not much to them. We had Hot Wheels all blue.
No, I'm all for it. I just have never heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
yeah, it was amazing.
And Eric, who's your publisher?
Well, I decided to go with another synonym-based publisher name last
what
year.
is this? Can we guess that? Does anybody know what it is?
I was waiting for Eric to tell me.
I know what it is.
Last year was Obedient Cat, which no one got, and I felt dumb, which is a synonym off of Naughty Dog.
Yeah, that was dumb.
It's antonyms, but
wow, whatever. Antonyms, synonyms. We've already established I don't know the difference. Okay, that's for sure. So this is Extract Tandem Reciprocal, and Stefan, do you know what it is?
I'm pretty sure it's Take-Two Interactive.
It is Take-Two Interactive. So
the Reciprocal did throw me off. Yes, no, I made that same face. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is Take-Two, but why is this
For
Reciprocal?
the record, I Googled synonym for interactive, and that's what came up. So if you have a problem where it's an antonym,
I think you spelled it wrong.
Google.
You
Reciprocal?
probably spelled it wrong. No, you probably spelled interactive incorrectly. So
I don't think so.
We'll see.
I just checked again.
Well, good job. You would have stumped me on synonym roll, because that was the one I was looking at. And I was like, I don't know what the hell he's trying to say here. I'm so confused.
Yeah, that third word was tough.
All right. Let's go ahead and set this draft order.
all right.
Says things are all set to get started. Start drafting.
Who is first?
It didn't give me just a list, so I'm going to click start drafting and we'll see.
Let's see.
Warning. Once you start drafting, you can no longer add or remove players. That's fine.
So we can't kick Jay out.
The standings readjusted. Is this the order?
Sorcerers of the Beach is next to draft. So yeah,
Okay.
I believe so.
I am waiting for it
Dylan is starting.
Stefan, you're last.
to pop up and let me do it.
Honestly, that's a good
All right.
spot. If I was going to go like in the top
Oh man.
2 or 3, I'd want to go last.
See, I kind of don't want, because now I feel like there's pressure to pick a game.
Prince of Persia.
It's gonna be a while till you come back around. So.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the big known quantity is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I feel like I have to pick that one. It's kind
You don't have to. You can follow your heart and not think with your brain if you want.
but that's the one that is kind of like the big heavy hitter of the year that is known right now, you know? So I will pick that game up.
All right. Well, next it is extract tandem reciprocal.
It's a mouthful. And for future reference, it does make a ding. So that is nice to know. This is a little tough because, I mean, there's two clear choices here. Neither of these are going to be here when we get back.
Yeah.
I would probably just play it safe here. And I'm going to pick the second most hyped game. Early release in March. I'm going to go Dragon's Dogma 2 here. But I'll be honest, I was expecting with a mid-round pick to hopefully get Tekken 8. That's not going to be here when I come back. So I'm going to draft Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yep, that was the one I was caught between, because Dragon's Dogma 2 is the one I am personally most excited for, but
yeah, I mean, you can't not pick a Final Fantasy game. It's kind of, it's like Breath of the Wild last year. You couldn't not pick the Zelda game.
Exactly. But Capcom's been hitting it out of the park lately, so I'm excited to see what they do with Dragon's Dogma. So,
Phil, you're up.
All right. Well, yeah, like Eric said, Tekken is not going to be here because that is what is I have highest up here, at least on my watch list that's left. And, I've already been seeing people, that have gotten their hands on it. Nothing but great things. I'm not going to play it and have no interest in playing it. I just know it's going to be good. So,
Street Fighter did a lot of good work for me last year.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I was thinking of.
The fighting games, too, are usually a decent pickup because they have the fighting game person review it. And so it's usually somebody who's like predisposed to like the game already. So,
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So Millennium Falcon Punch picked up Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree.
Okay.
Oh, we can pick up DLC.
Yeah, we decided that, we can pick up expansions is how Fantasy Critic
Interesting.
categorizes it. So we had a vote.
Yeah.
You weren't there, I guess.
I do remember seeing that, but I didn't realize. Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, he snatched that one up. Now it is my turn. And I am going to go with... I feel like we've already gone through all the A tiers and we're already in B tier.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, I'm going to go with Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a safe bet right there. I was hoping that'd come back around, but I wasn't that.
That was my heart pick at 3, but I was like, I have to take Tekken here. But my heart was like, you'd probably also be pretty good with Like a Dragon.
Yeah. That's probably going to break the 80s.
Depression Offline.
Absolutely. And since we can do expansions, I'm actually going to do one that is very close to my heart and one I'm very excited for. Kind of stick on the Final Fantasy trail, but Final Fantasy 14 Dawn Trail, which is the expansion for the MMO. It's one of the games where it is an MMO, but you could play it just like an RPG, and the story is it's unlike anything else. So it is one that I figured would get to me, but I'm very glad that it did. So that was going to be my first pick. Now my second pick, kind of like you said, all the big hitters are kind of gone, and everything else is like leaning towards like I'm pretty sure it's going to be good, but I'm not too sure. And one that I've been keeping up with since the very first trailer. And I've kind of just got to go with it. It's gonna be Black Myth Wukong. It's one that I saw the original trailer. I was like, "There's no way this could be like this is coming out of nowhere. It can't be this good." But the more and more I see of it, it's looking like it's gonna be a good time. So
yeah, it looks awesome. I was hoping to get that one. All right, that means it's back to me. Man, I'm going to go with... I think I'm going to scoop up Rise of the Ronin. Wo Long reviewed relatively well, and this looks a little bit more serious than Wo Long, so hopefully the gameplay is just as solid, and maybe it'll have a story that's worth paying attention to, and it'll get me some points.
I think that's a good pick. That's kind of what I was in between with that and
Mhm.
Wukong. I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, Phil.
Jay picked up.
Oh yeah.
Princess Peach Showtime.
Oh, that's why it's not there. I forgot there was an auto draft. Damn it. I was like,
Even when he's not here,
wrong.
he's screwing with you.
You can't
Oh,
go
it's
wrong with a
amazing.
Nintendo game. And I was like, where is it? It's like, no one
Yep.
took it. Oh man, did somebody pick up or take Hollow Knight last year? Because we didn't
Jay
know when it
did.
was coming out, right?
Phil,
It's
that
been picked
game
every
Yeah,
year.
I was gonna say that game has been
It's been,
picked every single year we've done this. So
Yeah.
pick
we
it
don't
at your
really-
own risk.
Listen,
Yeah.
the year this game comes out, though, that is like a guaranteed like 99
Yeah.
when it shows up. Is the big problem.
Exactly.
It won't get counterpicked because of that reason. Nobody's gonna pull the trigger on that.
I think
Not
I
till, like,
counterpicked
late
it last
September.
year. Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
that
gonna-
counter
they're-
pick
Right, yeah,
screwed
late
Jay.
in the
Yeah,
year.
that actually was another
yeah.
thing that screwed Jay last year.
It's going to be
Mhm.
whoever's in first place. They're like, I'll counterpick Silksong, and then December 30th it's dropping, and then they
Right.
just lose 50 points because of it.
There
Exactly,
was a
they
fear.
shadow drop it at the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because of that, I'll go with the game on my list that I again feel the best about. Again, a game that I'm probably not going to play, which is Hellblade 2.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think that with the amount of hype around it and how long and how starved Xbox players are for something, I think is like it has to be a banger. It has to be good, please, for the love of God, especially after Starfield and
Mm-hmm.
everything else that's gone on there. So yeah, I feel good about that one. Again, it's the highest ranked game I have on my watch list. So yeah, we'll go there.
Yeah, Hellblade was going to be my next pickup if it came back around. I almost got it last time because I agree with you. If it does actually release this year, like they say it's going to, I think it could be like a really big win for Xbox. All right, reciprocal.
All right, well, we were just talking about it, and I am glad it made it back to me. I'm going to take the risk, and I'm going to go take Silksong. If this is the
Okay.
year that it comes out, again, it's a absolute league winner. And I feel like I need a game like that that I can hold on to, that people will be cautious about counterpicking. And I can kind of see how most of the year plays out before I make a decision. Do I drop it? Do I accept the counter pick? So a little bit of a different strategy. I played it safe with a lot of choices. Like I think I picked Forza Motorsport in my last draft because I was like, I just want to make sure I get points. Taking a different approach here.
And it was like the worst reviewed Forza in like years.
Got me positive points, but not as many as I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
those
got to
are
go for
usually-
the Horizon games.
Yeah.
All right. So I have two back to back, huh?
Yeah.
I am going to pick up the next highest one on my watch list. Is that Metaphor Refantasio? Refantasio. It's a studio that it's what, Atlas? It's the Persona
The
studio.
Persona.
So Persona 5 beloved, Persona 4 beloved. I'm hoping that they continue to make very good games. I think last year they had Soul Hackers or something come out, which got me decent points. And then I'm going to delve into a game I picked last year, a little indie that I've heard get a lot of like positive buzz, but I think got delayed. And that is The Plucky Squire. So I'm hoping that is maybe one of the year's indie darlings that gets like tens or something like that, so that it kind of boosts my points up there. But I've heard very good things about the game. So
Yeah, the game design for that, just the idea of it is one of my favorites. It was actually I didn't think it was gonna make it to me again, but if it did, it was gonna get swiped
Yep.
up immediately. I'm very excited for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, back to you.
All right. I am taking another risk. I don't think it's as bad, and this is where again, go big or go home. But I will say it's a game that I'm excited about, and I will play if it releases this year. So I think the game that I have to pick here, going with my gut and my heart, is Star Wars Outlaws.
No.
It's a game that could bite me in the ass.
That bitch ain't coming out.
It could bite me in the ass, but I want to definitely at least take a shot and see if we get a late 2024 release. Maybe I drop it.
Yeah.
Maybe someone counterpicks me today, which isn't great, but you know what? If that game comes out, I'm playing it, and I'm really hopeful.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think that if that game comes out, it is going to be a very good game. It's the Division studio, right? So I've enjoyed like the Division games a lot.
Also the Avatar studio.
I forget that they did that, and that was one of the best games Ubisoft has released in a while. So let's give it credit where it's due. But
the problem is that it's giving me Watch Dogs 1 vibes with like the trailer we've seen and how incredible it looks, and then the game is going to come out and just be like fine, but it's going to get crucified because it wasn't what they promised. But we'll see. Hopefully they prove me wrong, because if what they promised is what we actually get, it'll be a really cool game.
Oh yeah.
Phil.
All right, I'm going to go with a game when I was doing my research earlier in the week. If this is the correct game, I'm pretty sure it is. I Googled it just now to verify. Perfect. Someone called it Skyrim with guns, and I'll go with Avowed. Which I...
Far Cry 3?
Same thing. Yeah, I mean, again, another game, not going to play. That's going to be my whole thing this year. Just not. Eric and I talked about this, like, and Andrew, you and I mentioned it as well when we were kind of talking, like, there's not those, like, big heavy hitters, and I'm not a big Nintendo gamer either, so, like, me and Eric are going to be playing a lot of Fortnite and the finals or something, and a terrible NCAA football game that's eventually going to come out. Like, that's going to be my year, man. So it's going to be, rough. But
so far, like 2 or 3 are Game Pass games. You could just get Game Pass, Phil.
Oh, I have Game Pass. It's the best deal in gaming. It's fantastic.
Best one. Yes.
Have you heard?
Have you guys heard?
Yeah, Avowed is basically Skyrim, but made by Obsidian is kind of how it looked initially. They released more about it last summer. It looks pretty cool. I'm excited to see how it turns out.
The video I watched was like, have you ever wanted to shoot one of the Skyrim bears with a gun? Like, well, you can do that here. So take a shot.
Jay auto-drafted Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden.
That looks cool.
Yeah, it was one that I was holding off because I was hoping it would come back around to me in like for my 5th or 6th pick. But it's made by the Life is Strange studio, I believe. Don't nod, right?
Yes.
And it looks pretty cool. So I'm excited for that game.
All right. Well, for me, we are now in the weird and the long shots kind of games like Eric was talking about. So on the off chance, like it's not really an off chance, on the chance that it gets reviewed in early access, I'm picking up Hades 2.
That's crazy. That's amazing. I wanted to do it, but I had already made the bet with Silksong and Outlaws. Can't do it.
That
we'll see what happens.
I feel like there's a better chance it gets reviewed in early access than Hades 1 got. Like,
oh yeah, because it's a known quantity now. Like, people have high expectations for this. It's going to be a lot of eyes are going to be on this early access when nobody really even paid attention to the first game except for Supergiant fans.
Yeah. So I wonder how complete it will be in early access, though. You know, like, is it going to be like, oh, the first level, or is it going to be like, it's mostly done, we're just like fine tunings, bug fixing, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, who knows? I'm excited to play it, though. I don't know if I'll play early access or if I'll just wait for 1.0. We'll see. But Depression Offline, back to you.
Yeah, a lot of the ones I'm wanting, you realize like how little there is when there's so many people picking. You're like,
Yep.
okay, all of mine are
Exactly. It
going
goes
off.
quick.
Thankfully, I still have a couple more. One that I'm pretty excited for is going to be Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl.
Okay.
That is
Yeah.
one that I've been looking forward to. Pretty excited about. And then, on the kind of safe side, these ones usually always do pretty well. I'm gonna go Little Nightmares 3. So those are gonna be the two that I end up taking. The Little Nightmares games tend to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty solid all around. So
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard good things about the Stalker series. So I'm interested to see that game come out. I'm excited to see it do well, because the first one is probably a little too old for me to like sit down and get into at this point. So I'm looking at the second game as like, this is my chance to like check this series out. So
Okay, so back to me. How many games have we done so far? Is this 4?
yeah, this will be your fourth pick.
this would be your fourth one. Yep.
We're getting weird.
Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones.
No, I am going to bet on Donkey,
Ah,
and I'm going to pick up Animal Well.
that is the Metroidvania that's being published by Video Game Donkey, right?
Yeah, his publishing, his like indie label, it's like one of their first games that they're publishing, and he's talked about it on a few of his videos last year. Doesn't really look like aesthetically, I don't really care for it that much, but I think just the story around it, and if it's a solid game, the story around it could push it up a few more points too, with it being, Donkey and all that. So let's see, does that mean it was Jay picked one up again? Yeah, he got Euden Chronicles 100 Heroes.
Yep. That was a game on my list. It's coming to Game Pass, Best Deal in Gaming. But it's like a JRPG, I think, but it's got a bunch of different like party members that you can have throughout it. I don't know a ton about the series, but in doing the research for this episode, I was like, that game seems actually kind of interesting. So
back to you, Phil.
All right, we're gonna go with a one that again, a lot of people seem to be excited about. Looks very strange to me. It's got a cool name though. It's called Unicorn Overlord.
yeah.
We're gonna go with that one. That's again not my style, but I think it's gonna give me some points.
Yep. Yeah, I was looking at that one earlier because that one is published by is developed by the people who made Aegis Sentinels 13. What is it?
13 Sentinels Aegis Rim.
That one.
That one.
Which got good reviews.
Sounds like an Eric game.
So,
or an Eric show.
Is that what it would be?
It's pretty anime.
Oh, listen. Now I'm intrigued. Let's see. So, 2023 me would have definitely picked Microsoft Flight Simulator here. But I feel like, getting to observe the landscape has helped. And I feel like there must have been a reason, even though I counterpicked it last year, why Dylan selected Warhammer 4000 Space Marine 2. So I'm gonna select that game here. And we'll see how that goes.
That was my game that I wasn't going to draft because I didn't expect anyone to pick it up.
Nice.
All right. Now I have to actually think about what I'm doing here. Now that
It's
Eric's apparently picking off my list.
Sorry.
Let's see. So I get 2 picks in a row. I'm torn here. I think the first one that I'm going to pick up is another fighting game Not really my style, not really my thing, but fighting games tend to review fairly well. And I think the Grand Blue series in general reviews decently well. So I'm going to pick up Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. That one also has a release date, so that's kind of nice.
Does help.
Yeah. Oof. And then I don't know that this game will be good, but I remember playing earlier version, so Homeworld 3 is the game I'm going to pick up next. I remember playing the original Homeworld on my computer, way back in the day, early 2000s. So I'm going to pick that game up for nostalgia, and also because I needed a big far future sci-fi thing since Eric stole Warhammer. So
listen, it had to be done. It is tough. I will say, and you guys can maybe enlighten us as the gaming enthusiast, but this year is weird. I mean, last year it didn't feel like there was this small of a pool of games with actual release dates. So
yeah,
I will say that's a huge difference, Phil, Stefan. Big difference from last year. Felt like there was a lot on the board, even if they weren't, B, C tier games. They at least had dates.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for that reason, I've already picked enough games that may not come out this year. I'm going to go with a game that people seem to be excited about in Helldivers 2. From what I was able to research, definitely could be a hit or miss, but I think it's more likely to be a smaller hit than a big miss, and I'm willing to take that gamble.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the game every time I see it, I'm like, are they making a Starship Troopers game?
That definitely caught my attention. So I was like, well, that's got to be fun.
Phil, are you gambling?
No, I'm going to take advantage of Eric's pass here and just go with Flight Simulator. The first one was really good, that released on the Xbox Series XS, and this one they're adding more things to do. So will it run in my Series S? Probably not. Will I try? Yeah, sure, I'll give it a shot. But I think again, I'm just gonna keep it smart here, and I'll take my chances later with my money.
Yep.
So is this a different Flight Simulator, or are they just adding to Flight Simulator with a big expansion or something?
It's a new one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Interesting.
Are you still doing the exact same thing of flying an airplane around the world? Yes, but it is technically new.
Yeah, and they're adding jobs to do and different stuff like that, as opposed to I guess fly. I don't know. I didn't play the first one, so
have you ever
adding
wanted to
gameplay?
be a FedEx pilot? Now you can.
There you go.
Well, Jay scooped up Alan Wake 2 Night Springs, so he's our expansion guy.
Yep, I did see that and thought about it. Alan Wake 2 was one of the darlings of this year, or last year, so I would expect that to do well. I think the gamble there is, will enough outlets review it to get it on the board? Because that's always the risk you take with an expansion, is I think it needs a minimum of 5 or 10 reviews for it to start counting. So we had a few last year that came right down to the wire on whether they counted or not.
Yeah, so the rest of my watch list is 2024 or later. 2024 or later. I'm like, oh man. And some of these games are games that, if they don't get drafted, I feel like I might add, a little bit later on. So I'm like, do I really pull the trigger on them, or do I wait? I'm gonna go with a game that was picked up last year but didn't come out, and hopefully will come out this year, with Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn.
Nice. That game looks so cool every time I watch that trailer.
Yeah. It will it be the Lies of P of this year? It has a lot stiffer competition with
Shadow of the Erdtree.
Black Myth Wukong, and Shadow of the Erdtree. If that actually comes out, then it won't even matter. But there are a few kind of these like double A Souls likes slated to come out this year, and the ones that we've picked up so far look good. Rise of the Ronin and Wukong, and now Flintlock, but we'll see. Depression Offline.
Yeah, so getting down into the weeds of it, I'm actually gonna take one from that you guys had picked last year that did not come out as well. Figured I'd stay on that one that I love the aesthetic of. I'm gonna take Replaced. Replaced looks
incredible.
Looks incredible. Hoping it's a second half of 2024, so it is one of those could end up coming back to haunt me. But then, of course, I have to take with my last pick, Skull and Bones. We're going Skull. No, I'm not going Skull and Bones. They're not going Skull and Bones. I'm actually going to go Frostpunk 2. I'm actually a big fan of the first Frostpunk. There are still a couple games on here that, still taking a look at, but Frostpunk is one of those ones where I feel like it's going to be pretty solid. It's a good bet, so I'm going to end up taking that as my last pick.
Nice. Yeah. So Replaced is that the sort of sci-fi dystopian like Blade Runner looking one? Is that am I thinking correctly of that, or is it?
Yeah, the indie game.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. It gives me kind of like Katana Zero vibes a little bit in like its vibes and what it's putting out, and if it's anything like that, then I'm gonna be excited to try it out.
Yeah, and then I know Frostpunk is a solid game. Like you're basically like city builder survival thing. Definitely solid. On Game Pass too, I think. So
best deal in gaming.
Best deal in gaming. Phil Spencer, we know you watch.
So I have like 3 or 4 probably that are all I could pick any of them, and does it
now's the
really
gamble
matter?
Now's the gamble of like, do other people know this, or can I pick it up for $1 in like the bets or the bids afterwards,
Exactly. And because I don't want anybody else to pick it up, I'm gonna go Metroid Prime 4. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go with Hyper Light Breaker.
Okay, yep. That was on my list. Because Drifter reviewed very well, right?
Yeah, people like Hyper Light Drifter. Like, I don't honestly really know like what the Metacritic is or anything, but I just, whenever it comes up on podcasts and stuff, it seems to be a positive thing that they're saying about it. So, and then wasn't there another one? Another Hyper Light Drifter, or maybe I'm just thinking of this one. But
Drifter and Breaker are the only two I'm seeing.
I don't know what I'm thinking of then, but yeah, I'm hoping that this one will just be an improvement.
Yeah,
I know it's they're changing genres a little bit, but still capture the magic, but do it a little better. Phil, what about you?
You want to mention what game Jay got?
Oh yeah, I guess we should talk about Jay. Huh? He picked up Pacific Drive, which
nice.
Actually, anytime people have talked about like previewing that game, they talk about how fun it is and how weird and cool. So who knows? It might. That's the like.
Is that the
driving
one?
Through? No, you're driving through like a natural disaster in a car in first person, but it's like a roguelike.
Oh,
okay. I've seen gameplay.
It's a PlayStation exclusive. So yeah, it looks like it'd be something that wouldn't work, but apparently is getting decent like positive preview kind of feedback. So we'll see. I'm curious to see how that one shakes out and if he ends up keeping it all year. Now, Phil.
There you go. I got you, Jay. So yeah, the last two I'm down to are kind of like they're games that people have been waiting for a while to return, or franchises people have been waiting to return. I'm more familiar with Dragon Age than I am Vampire the Masquerade. So I'll go Dreadwolf. Just because
That game's coming out this year, so it's a good pick.
Is it?
is it though? Like,
Is it though?
that's the thing. Is like,
I hope it
even.
does.
I mean, even I play Dragon Age, and I
Yeah.
never jump into games like Dragon Age. Like,
Yep.
when I worked at GameStop and there was a
Mhm.
vault. Eric knows. I would check out that game and play it all the time. So yeah, we'll go with that. It's definitely coming out. Yeah, we're gonna manifest it.
Yeah, and BioWare is definitely still the great studio that they were.
They had a great year, so they're just gonna continue all that. I took like a lot of safe, boring picks. Whatever.
Yeah, no,
That's okay.
you got to put a little spice in there.
Yeah.
I wanted to take baby
hope-
steps, but I decided.
Listen, safe will get you to third place, as I learned. But I'm shooting for first. I don't know that this pick will be a representation of that goal, though, because I'm gonna pick a game I don't think anybody here was gonna pick. Probably would have been a dollar pickup on waivers, but it's my last pick. I'm gonna select South Park Snow Day, despite the fact that
it was on my watch list. Actually, I did put it on there.
Yeah, now it does concern me that 56% of people counterpicked it when I'm looking at this. So maybe there's something I don't know, but I'm gonna just take a gamble and go with a South Park game. They're usually fun. I can't imagine it's going to be too detrimental if it goes negative, but who knows? Maybe it could yield positive results.
I know people really like Stick of Truth. I don't remember hearing much about the Fractured Butthole.
There's a reason.
How that one.
There's a reason you didn't hear much about it.
The Fractured Butthole is good, but it wasn't as good as Stick of.
Yeah, following the Stick of Truth is a hard ask, because the Stick of Truth is unironically an amazing game. Like it's very fun.
To be fair though, like the best part of Fractured Butthole is like they're trying to hide the giant spaceship as a Taco Bell, and like, come on, that's gold.
Yep. All right. So
This is it.
this is it. This is the end. I've got two that I've got my eyes on.
One for each eye.
Yes, one for each eye. And I think the one that I'm going to go with, and I'm gambling on the people that are going to review this game are actually going to be people that like it, is Path of Exile 2. No, wait. I was in my watch list and not in draft the game. Here we go. Path of Exile 2. So it's a free-to-play, like Diablo-like game that's coming out with just a massive skill tree. That is like one of their selling points, is just you can build crazy things. So I think a lot of people... I liked Diablo 4, but I think a lot of people were looking for more from it, and I think this is going to be that game for them. So I think it will do very well. And I know the original Path of Exile gets a lot of praise, so I'm hoping that will be the one. I do have a few that I'm going to pick up on waivers and just kind of see if they come out. So
Nice. So the way that the counter picks work is in reverse order, it looks like, because Stefan gets to kick it off with his counter pick.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he knows I'm coming towards him, and it's not. It's normally it would be just because we are related that I would, but kind of what was brought up. Most of the time, there's not really anything you could actually harp on too much. The only one outside of your games that I was considering, honestly, was for Phil was Senua Saga Hellblade. That was one that I was thinking about, because that one I'm iffy on if it's coming good. But as much as it hurts my heart, and I'm pretty sure someone will take the South Park game as As
Yep.
someone who has played the Division, I love the Division. It's a fun game. Knowing kind of how that company works, and then it also being under Ubisoft, and then it being the Star Wars IP, it being open world, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and it is one that I got a feeling that is either just going to get review bombed immediately on release. So that is where I'm going.
You know,
I'm glad you did it because I didn't know if I was going to have the strength to do it. Even though, like, I was like, I don't know if that's coming out, but yeah.
I would like to make it known that the only team to get counterpicked more than 3 times was me, and I was counterpicked a total of 5 times last year. So I'm just saying, this better stop, because I have a feeling that I'm going to get attacked a little bit more today.
Listen,
chill.
I'm just saying, if it happened 5 times last year and it's happening this year, I think this is more about you than it does about us.
You know what?
Putting that out there.
To be fair, some of those games were Dead Island 2 did yield positive results, but I understood it. Payday 3, which was my only negative game last year. Thanks, Andrew. And then games like Wizard with a Gun. You know, I mean, it was positive, but it wasn't much. So the only like egregious one was Liza P and Alan Wake 2, which worked out in my favor.
I feel like 5 is rookie numbers. We got to get those numbers up, guys.
Yeah.
Counterpick everything.
I have a lot of counterpick worthy games, but if they all come out this year, you guys are screwed. So, and we'll see.
Honestly, the counterpicks are really tough for me this year because a lot of this, I don't know. Probably we're counterpicking stuff that won't release.
Oh my god, how does an auto draft counterpick work?
That's a good question.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah, interesting. And we counterpicked Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That is where that's going.
I think I will counterpick. It's tough.
Yeah, because you got to play that game of like, do I counterpick something I just don't think will come out, or is there something on this list that you think will be bad?
Yeah, I'm like, I could counterpick Replaced because I don't know if it'll come out this year, but I want it to come out this year and I want it to be good, so I don't really want to counterpick that game. And then I'm looking at games with names like Grand Blue Fantasy Relink or Metaphor Refantasio, and I'm like, well, those look right for counterpicking.
Yeah,
but
go for it. Pick.
Maybe the weebs will really like them. I don't know. So I think I'm gonna land on the kind of easy, safe bet of South Park. Just based on what we just talked about, because who knows, it could actually be another stick of truth and it could really screw me. But is the same team making this one that made the other games?
Well, this one
know that?
is this one an RPG like the others? I thought this one was like more of a shooter type.
Pretty sure it's multiplayer.
It's
going to be terrible.
If anyone played the game, it was way back for free on Xbox. It was called Happy Wars.
Okay.
You had like your little guys, and you were all just like pick your class, and you fight out there. Fun game. Don't know what review wise it's going to be, but definitely going to be a fun time.
Jay counterpicked Dragon Age.
So it probably goes with the one that has the highest counterpick percentage, which I figured that was going to happen. So I was like, you and me, Dreadwolf, we're in this for the long haul, baby. You and me, man. We're gonna BioWare. We're gonna.
Which, if that's what it was, more than likely it would have just auto drafted Snow Day as a counterpick. So it doesn't matter either way.
Yep. Yeah, that's a game that I hope comes out, and I hope is good. But I don't know that it's coming out this year, and I really don't know that it's going to be good. So,
but if it is, it's going to work out really well for you, Phil, and it's going to really screw Jay again. So,
what can I pick at Jay's? Let's see. What do you say the specific drive game is? But it's a driving game. I don't even know.
It's a driving roguelite. It's a weird pitch.
It's set up to be an indie darling. So Banishers could be safe as a
I was-
counter pick because I don't
Alan
know.
Wake
if Don't
2, is
Nod-
that actually going to come out? Night Springs?
I don't know.
Yes,
It's got an estimated release date, so
they've got 2 DLC coming out this year. Actually, fun fact if anyone's
Mhm.
looking on waivers, but there's gonna be a second one later. Now you could do the funniest thing, and
and do Warhammer.
and look at Eric's list and take a gander there.
Go take Silk Song. Go take Silk Song. Come on,
Yeah.
somebody take it. Somebody take
Well,
it.
listen.
Make me
the
commit
only-
to it.
I'm gonna be honest. The only reason I was actually considering Silksong is because, like, it's not worth the risk of if it does come out. I don't think that game exists. I'm just gonna say that game's not real. That game has been teased for so long, and then they've just been dead silent, not said a word. I don't know if that game's real.
It's not
It's
real.
not real.
It is not real. It is not real. Oh man. All right. I'll go. God, I don't know. Like, yeah, Hades 2 is a 30.7% counter pick. I'm not. Even if it does, I don't have the balls for that. Not as a first timer here. I'll just go with the Ghost of New Eden. It's got almost a 30% lock. How do I? Oh, it's in the draft counter pick. Okay, that makes sense. Oh no, not Alan Wake. Hold on. What is it called again? Ghosts of New Eden. Okay, I had already forgot. I'll just go with that. I just don't know enough about these, so I'm just going on percentages and trusting the other players, and we'll do that.
All right. So it is my go, and
Time to clap back, Eric.
well, there's so many of you to clap back to that it's just so hard with one counter pick right now. So I'm gonna have to really use my second one. I don't know. It's something about the way that you guys said that this game is gonna be like Skyrim-like. Really rubbed me the wrong way. So I'm actually gonna go out Valve,
Smart.
and I'm gonna go after
This
that
is
as
gonna be a
my
Hogwarts Legacy situation.
honestly, very, very likely. Now, to be fair, when you play back the tape, there wasn't a lot of options left to me, I believe, at that time to counterpick. So I really kind of went out there on a whim, and I enjoyed that game, which was also doubly painful that I played it as it killed me, my season.
Whew. All
All right, Dylan. Bring us home.
Yeah, I'm torn. Because everything that's left is basically like these all seem good. Part of me wants to go with Animal Well, just because I think that's an unknown. Like Donkey's name is attached. That's the only reason we know about it. I think if that game came out, there's a decent chance that without Donkey, I don't know that it would get anything.
But how many people watch Donkey's videos every time he releases one?
I mean, that's true. But him releasing a video doesn't mean it's good. I mean, honestly, most of the games he releases videos about are bad. So
Yeah, no, I'm just saying from like a what's the right terminology? But like so many indie games, like there could be so many hidden gems that people just never find because they don't have any sort of advertising behind them. Whereas this game is gonna have millions of eyes on it, and even if a percentage of those people, like it just has a much larger platform behind it.
that's true. That's true. I just don't know that for his first game, he knows best for publishing. I think he may be picking a game that he will enjoy. I don't know if the general public / critics will enjoy it. So I'm torn between that one. I'm torn between Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. I really want that game to be good. There's a decent chance it's not.
Oh no! Why did you tell me that? You had so many opportunities.
I mean, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be good. Will the critics? That's my big question. And then Hades 2, I don't know if that is coming out this year, but that one feels like a mistake to counterpick because if it does
Kinda
come
like
out,
Silksong.
if it does come out, that's one as like a September, October counter pick where it's like it rolls around. I still have my second counter pick. We haven't heard anything about Hades. It's like, all right, I'll pick this one up and just cross my fingers it doesn't get shadow dropped at the Keeleys. So I think I am going to counter pick Animal Well.
I was also close to doing that one. The thing that stopped me was watching Andrew's draft history, and the only game he's gotten negative points on that wasn't counterpicked as a non-release was Gotham Knights in 2022. Outside of that, he's at least yielded a point for each game. So I was a little scared, but I think that's a good pick personally.
Doing the research.
Well, and there's a little bit of it where it's like, which of these games will lose me the least points? And I think that one is the one, because if I lose a point or two, that's okay. If I counterpick, Hades 2 and lose 25 points, that's bad.
That's what I was thinking for Hogwarts Legacy, and then I lost 14 points. So that
it worries me that you're saying that. I don't want you to be telling me that, Eric. That's ooh.
So that is the 2024 draft. We have started our rosters. Like I said, we all have 3 drops. We have $100 to play with. We each have to pick up another counter pick by the end of the year. And then we will all meet up again next year like this and go over the results and talk about who won.
Yep.
And I'm excited. I think this year is going to be, for the reasons we've said already multiple times, it's going to be very interesting to play Fantasy Critic this year, just with how nothing is rock solid going into this year. Like last year was so big and so many games came out that this year feels really dry in comparison, and nobody's committed to a date for anything yet. So I think it's going to make it a unique Fantasy Critic year, and I'm excited to play through it and see how it all shakes out.
Yeah.
I think the one thing we can look forward to is a consecutive second place finish for Jay once again.
Absolutely. Some things never change.
Yes.
So you can change your publisher name, but you're still second place at heart.
If it's entertaining to anyone, at this moment, he is projected to finish third. So, I mean, he's right in the ballpark so far.
Yeah.
On the auto draft. We'll see.
Yeah, it is always interesting to look at the projections and how, like, by the end of the year, they will be so far off. Because it's telling me that I'm going to win, which is not true. That's not going to happen. And then Phil is in second place, roughly a point behind me. Jay, third place, roughly 5 points behind Phil. Eric, 3 points or so behind Jay, and then Stefan, a point behind Eric, and then last place, Andrew.
Which, if history tells us anything, this is completely accurate. So this is great.
0.01 points behind.
0.01 behind me. And I just want to say that with all these counter picks, the only people who didn't get one was the person projected to finish first, and then me in fifth. So we were the only ones who did not get a counter pick put. So it was a big difference between us. Eric only having 2, very surprising, but we'll get that number up. Don't worry about it.
Still a lot of game to play.
There is. Again, the draft
more.
Didn't turn out this way last year. It was during the year that those counter picks started to pile up, which I didn't appreciate. But again, most of them worked in my favor. So getting negative points out there, I was pretty happy about that. And again, any chance to screw Jay, I'm here for it. I'm curious if there's going to be like a Baldur's Gate 3 somewhere that comes out of nowhere, because I know when Stefan wanted to join the league, he was very surprised none of us were aware to pick up that game. And that probably would have been a game changer for sure.
I think we couldn't pick it up because it had already been reviewed in early access when we did our draft. So it was ineligible. But to be fair, it didn't even cross my mind at that time. Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us for the draft. Thank you, Jay, for being part of the league again this year. Sorry you couldn't make it. I'm assuming you're going to listen to this episode or watch this video because you should. Plugs. Let's start with Stefan. Do you have anything that you want to plug as we wrap the episode up? Anything you want to promote? It can be something you do or create or just something you enjoy.
Brick City Anime Festival. Talk about Brick City Anime Festival.
Brick City Anime Festival, definitely come out. There's a great podcast who are helping host it. I think their name is the Wait For It podcast. They do help host. They are incredible. Definitely come out to that. So it's gonna be a good time. I would just like one shout out. I do this on almost every podcast I go on. It's very near and dear to my heart. I hate My Hero Academia. And I despise that show with everything in me. That is the only thing I want to shout out. Nothing more. That show objectively sucks. Thank you.
My Hero Academia threw up on Eric's wall.
I'm literally staring at my Hero wall like. That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I have a burning hatred for My Hero.
I was going to congratulate you, Eric, on finally getting stuff on your walls.
Yes, instead of
it's much better.
Instead of the construction tape, which pressured me into doing this. So yes, you guys are getting the first view at a corner of my room.
Where's the wheel?
It's back here. I'm not going to go after it.
Oh, you didn't mount it up somewhere? Okay.
No, we're going to take it places, Andrew, and then we're going to have it available for What Did I Miss, which I believe, you guys will be experiencing throughout the year. So it's going to be exciting.
Nice. I seem to recall not too long ago, Eric, you were dunking on Jay. So why don't you go ahead and plug Super Bracket Bros and what they've got going on for season 6?
Yeah, Super Bracket Bros are humble leaders of the cinematic universe we're a part of.
We'll call it Slurp.
No, Slurps?
What? Yeah, I think it's
No,
called Slurp.
you're making that up. They're going to be going and doing a reimagining of the show, and it's going to be much more of a kind of like D&D style season, where there's going to be a lot of exciting things that are going on. There's a lot more research, a lot more in-depth analysis that's going through. I got my character card today, which is super exciting to see some of the special abilities, some of the traits, and I just think it's really, really cool. So if you're wanting to see something a little bit different out there, and check that out, Super Bracket Bros Season 6 is around the corner. So make sure to check them out wherever you're listening to this show.
Unless it's YouTube, because they're not on YouTube.
Yeah, except there, which they should do, because I feel like that'd be a really cool thing.
Yes. And then Phil, go ahead and plug Wait For It.
Yeah, we're off to a pretty fun start here in January. We've done, what did we do? We did Blue Eye Samurai. We have an episode on Ghost of Tsushima coming up. We have the 2024 Foresight episode, which Dylan will be joining us on. And then the bonus episode of What Did I Miss, which Andrew will be on. So we got your host here making appearances here very, very shortly as Stefan. So nicely mentioned. We do have Brick City Anime Festival coming up here in Ocala, Florida in the next couple of weeks. And we hope to see you there, giving out some prizes and hanging out with awesome voice actors and great vendors and all that. And 2024, we have a lot on the docket, and maybe another convention possibly coming up in the beginning of February. We will see what happens. Fingers crossed. So we are super excited to keep hanging out with you guys. Obviously the new season, Super Bracket Bros, all of that, and continue to further the cinematic universe. And can't wait to come back next year and talk about my Rookie of the Year win. And it'll be a fun time. So thanks for having me. Us, I guess.
Just
he was here last year.
Right? Yeah. No.
Oh, now I'm part of Super Bracket Bros unofficially.
Dylan, what do we got going on YouTube?
Well, this video is on YouTube. If you're watching it on YouTube, leave a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win, who you think is going to lose, which counter picks you think we should have made instead. Let us know about the games that we should pick up that we haven't heard of before, like the Indie Darlings or the obscure Japanese only game that we need to be paying attention to. Let us know, because some of us need all the help that they can get to beat Andrew, because he has to lose this year. And so we've got that. We've got a Assassin's Creed Mirage video coming out later this week when this video goes live. So check that out as well if you're interested in hearing Andrew's thoughts about how mediocre Assassin's Creed Mirage was. But I think that's it on the YouTube front. Oh, if you're listening to this and not watching it on YouTube, we do have a YouTube channel, and we would appreciate you going and becoming a subscriber to it, because that helps us out. So if you listen to our podcast enough to, have it pop up on your feed every week, just it costs you nothing to go over to YouTube and hit subscribe. So
we're currently at 419 subscribers as of recording this, so one more would be really entertaining for a few minutes while the number sits at 420. So
yes.
Yeah. And then on the podcast front, we wrapped up all of our 2023 in review kind of content with our awards, our game of the year lists, our predictions, results, all of that. So now we are moving into 2024. This is kind of the kickoff of that, and we'll be getting back to our regularly scheduled programming with the podcast. And if you enjoy that, we would greatly appreciate reviews, ratings, all those things on your app of choice. If it allows it, it helps us get the podcast out there in ways that we cannot control. You can't tell the algorithm to do that. You have to do it. So we would greatly appreciate that. But that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Thank you to everybody who came on and is part of the league this year. We really appreciate it. And with that, we will catch you on the next one.